Hey, Sassy Stuff. I'm Molly, and this is Georgia. Welcome back to Gymnastics. We're going to get right into it with all of the juicy stuff that happened this last weekend in the SEC Gymnastics. First off, we always like to shout out our favorite gymnasts that we feel like performed above, all expectations. And this week we chose Faith Torrez from Oklahoma. Obviously, she had an amazing weekend. She's a junior. She scored a perfect 10 on floor. That was definitely needed in their meet against Florida this weekend. She scored her first perfect 10 in this last weekend. She is a NCAA beam champion from last year, so she's obviously not just great on floor, she's great on beam. I looked at her vault and her bar scores, also an amazing gymnast. She's an all-arounder for sure. And then she was also 2023's Big 12 Newcomers of the Year. Obviously, OU is now in the SEC, so a lot has changed. Georgia, I don't know if you were able to watch her floor routine. I watched it while I was cooking dinner. Amazing, like effortless. Every landing, she didn't even take a step on. I mean, she was on top of it. And I think they definitely needed that energy, especially coming after all of the Florida stuff that had happened on floor. What did you think about Miss Faith this weekend?
I absolutely love her. She's definitely one of my favorite gymnasts in the SEC right now. She's really fun to watch. She's entertaining. And she definitely deserved that 10. This was their first Oklahoma's first 10 of the season, which is really exciting. I'm surprised they haven't gotten one yet. But yeah, she was just absolutely incredible. And I love watching her on floor.
Yeah, especially me and Georgia were texting because Georgia was watching the Alabama Auburn meet, and I was getting home and cooking dinner. And I had turned on the Florida OU meet, and it was right after Sloane Blakely had competed her floor exercise. And the scoring, we both texted at the same time. We flipped it on at the same time. We're like, wait, Sloane got a 6.3. That's crazy. What happened? And so I ended up having to Google it and watch back what had happened. Unfortunately, Sloane, following her meet from last week, which obviously she had a great meet, she had a perfect 10 on floor last week. She unfortunately was injured on her first tumbling pass this week. She was not able to complete the floor routine. Super sad. Obviously, I think that really rattled Florida. I went into this favoring Florida. I thought coming off of OU's last loss to LSU, I thought maybe they were rattled enough just to have Florida have a chance to beat them. So it was really unfortunate. And I did not watch the video of her being injured. I know that was not their only injury of this week. Anya Pilgrim was also injured on floor. So Florida had some of their gymnasts had an amazing meet. I think they were trying to stay positive. They were trying to get through everything. I was reading their coach, did have a quote saying there are a lot of young women on this team that have not had a chance yet to shine, and their chances might be coming soon. I have no idea when Sloane Blakely or Anya Pilgrim are going to be able to come back. There's not really an ETA on that. So I think that's why this coach is saying she's probably going to bump some people up to be able to compete in the next few meets. So Florida's future is really a slippery slope right now. And so I'm interested to see how maybe some of these new freshmen or maybe she's going to, take a couple sophomores off the bench basically. I'm interested to see how they do, especially under such pressure when you have somebody as amazing as Sloane Blakely, who's, scoring tens at these meets. I don't know how you kind of fulfill those shoes.
Yeah, and I think it was very unfortunate, the 2 girls that had to step up for beam, so I guess they were kind of, like, on reserve, they both fell,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I think that, like, the announcer had said, like, their position's almost more important because they have to be ready even when they aren't competing, and I feel like that's kind of not in your mind. You're like, "Oh, everything's fine, I'm not even gonna compete today," and I felt really bad for them. I think they did a good job for what was given. I see a lot of potential, but I felt bad because obviously they had to step up in a moment where they necessarily shouldn't have had to. It was unfortunate with injuries. And then Selena Harris Miranda once again bobbled on beam, which was really surprising. I felt like she was rattled. I think the whole place was just kind of, I mean, injuries are scary, and so and kind of contagious.
Mhm.
So I think it was just too much for Florida.
Yeah, I think, Florida kind of had this issue with Arkansas a couple weeks ago when they were upset was one fall for Florida turns into 3 falls somehow, and I think they are just mentally a very shaky team, and which is unfortunate to say, especially out loud, because I think when they're on it, they're on it, they're hot, they're ready, they're upsetting other teams. Like you just said, injuries are contagious, and I think the energy of the entire team shifts when somebody gets hurt, and this isn't any sport, this isn't just gymnastics. But I obviously the energy definitely shifted and it was scary. And I think everybody, kind of you go through these routines kind of fearless when you're at a certain level. And I think when you see it up close and personal, it does remind you of the caution that you should have when you're performing these routines. But also, I remember being a gymnast, fear is your number one injury. Like the moment you start thinking something bad might happen is the moment you actually get hurt. And so I think when you're watching other gymnasts and they're getting injured, that's like the first thing on your mind is, oh my God, I could possibly die doing this
Yeah.
in here.
I
Uh,
mean, it's scary.
no, it's very scary, and gymnastics is the most dangerous sport. I mean, it's a very, very dangerous sport, both men and women's. And so, yeah, I feel so terrible for Sloane Blakely, and also those alternates that stepped up. They do. They're the most important people on the team, to be honest, because in those moments, they're not supposed to be the ones rattled. Like they're supposed to be able to come in, fill the shoes, be able to close the gap, be able to score their high 9995s, whatever it is that they're supposed to be scoring to win the meet. And like you said, I think falls and injuries for Florida are just contagious. The moment one falls on beam, there's literally three more. But LSU at least wins against Kentucky. I want to shout out Kaylin Keough.
A beat.
She, oh my God, she's amazing.
Yeah.
What is this? What is this girl on?
I,
I'm like, what
I
is
don't
she?
know. Yeah, I'm just like every single time it's her turn, I'm just like ready to be blown away. Bring it on.
Guys, she won her fourth all around in a row. Like, and she's a freshman.
Yeah.
What is happening? This is the first time that LSU has won in Lexington since 2017. So obviously, it's a pretty big moment for them. Having a freshman like Caitlin, though, I'm just amazed. I'm like, this girl is on fire. She's having an amazing season. I think this is also, speaking of injuries, is like she has to stay healthy because LSU literally needs her if they want to come in and possibly beat OU or for the SEC championship, if they want to be competing in those top 3 spots, she has to be healthy because she is literally their best gymnast by far.
Yeah, I mean, she's amazing. And then Haley Bryant was on bars for the first time this year, coming off of an injury. And it wasn't beautiful. It was okay. It got the job done. I think it was okay. It's time. And I mean, it's better than anything I could have done. But, I think she's gonna be just completely the more comfortable she gets, she's gonna be on the same level of all group meets, so
Mhm. I mean, obviously, when you're coming off an injury, this is going to be the same for Sloane Blakely and Anya Pilgrim when they come back from Florida. It's rough because you also are recently injured. So the first thing in your head is like, okay, let me not do that thing again that hurt me the first time, or even in a tumbling pass, it's just the slightest mistake, like a slight under rotation or slight over rotation. You can really hurt yourself. And so I think coming off an injury, you're more cautious, which once again is like the number one thing that you're not supposed to be doing in gymnastics. You're supposed to be fearless and kind of just like, go for it. You got to wing it sometimes. But Ali Raisman said this best last week when she was commentating on the OU LSU meet. When you're on beam, or even any exercise, however, but specifically beam, like when you start your series, a series would be, sometimes they compete back handspring layout, or whatever their connecting series, their big tumbling series is. When you're competing that, just from the first back handspring, you can tell if you're off. And from there, you really can't get it back. Like you have to be on your alignment from the first time your feet leave the beam. And it's the same on floor. It's like if I over rotate literally just an inch, I'm screwed. I'm out of bounds. I'm falling. I'm stepping. I'm jumping on my landing. it, yeah, it's such a precise sport, and so I think the science behind gymnastics is so fascinating because these girls can like they're just their body acknowledgement is insane. But yeah, when you're coming back from an injury like that, you're thinking about all of those little scientific facts, like okay, if I under rotate, and it just makes you overthink your routines. And then when you're overthinking, you're not in the movement. And so then your routines, yeah, they're fine. They're, like you just said, like her bar routine was decent, but it wasn't like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not ones to really speak on,
I mean, I think I could have done better.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to see your cartwheel.
Put me on the team.
Put me in, coach. Georgia is ready to go.
I'm ready.
Obviously, though, I mean, like LSU, like we talked about last week, they're literally in my opinion, the number one team. So when you have a gymnast like Kaylin Keough and they're healthy and they're going for it, they're gonna be set up for the season. All right, Georgia, it's time. It's time for your moment to shine here. Tell me how you feel about Auburn beating Bama.
Well, this is the first time Auburn has ever won in Coleman Coliseum against Alabama. They had their season high. Congrats. This is just not a good season for Bama. It's not a bad season. It's just not what we're used to. Um, you know, I think they're doing their best, but it's just not good enough.
Mhm. Do you feel like maybe they should open up the transfer portal and have some new gymnasts hopefully come in? Or I mean, as a coach, what would you be doing? Is it the specific gymnast or maybe just the level of talent? When you're looking at other teams like Oklahoma, LSU, Florida, like they're obviously stacked talent wise. And so what would you be doing as a Bama head gymnastics coach right now, just from
I'm so I'm too loyal to people, so I hate the thought of sitting girls out and getting new people in to replace them. That just makes me sad for them. So, I don't think I have the guts to be a coach because I would just be like, "You can do it," even if they technically can't. Um, so maybe just working harder, working on different skills. I don't know. I just want them to be happy.
you're like, I just want to spread love and peace in the gymnastics community.
I do. I just want them to, feel good.
I mean, at least you have a team. I'm like, I tweet every week. I'm like, Texas, come on, what are we doing? Let's petition. Let's get a gymnastics team going.
And
Come
I
on.
mean, Alabama has been good at gymnastics. Like
Mhm,
they are a good gymnastics program. And so I don't know exactly because when I'm watching, I technically think it looks great.
mhm.
But then I watch the other teams, I'm like, crap, they suck that landing. Crap, they suck that landing. So, I think maybe it's just like little technical things that they need to work on that
Yeah,
I can't see, obviously, because I think it looks great. So obviously there's something going on. Maybe it's technical that I just don't realize.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, they're not they're not the worst. It could
yeah. I
be
mean, PSA for anybody watching. I did accidentally perform voodoo a few weeks ago, but Georgia was trying to perform voodoo on Auburn. I promise. She texted. I have the proof. She literally texted me and said, "I need Auburn to fall on beam," and she said
my
that.
voodoo just doesn't work.
I think it's just maybe I don't know. Maybe I accidentally have the gift. I don't mean to.
You're just better at voodoo than me. So
I don't even want to be very good at voodoo.
well, I do. So
Oh, oh goodness. Okay, guys. Well, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell us what voodoo you're performing this week on whatever gymnastics team you're watching.
let us know. No injuries, just bad scores.
Yeah, no injuries. We're not trying to get people hurt here.
No.
However, we are excited for the next 2 weeks. These meets are just getting better and better, and we're leading up to a big championship. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But we love you so much, and come back next week.